follow sport icons.
Right, I thought we'd carry on with the story so far playlist. Now, this will be the third in the series. Go check out the other two of Anthony Joshua and Billy Joe Saunders. And for this one, I want to make sure it wasn't going to be a British fighter. I want to go overseas. I gave you guys a list of 5, and including Keith Thurman and others. And you guys all voted on Terence Crawford. So that's what this one's going to be about. Now, as per the other ones as well, and any future ones, it's not going to be about their personal life. It's purely about their amateur career, their pro debut, up to where they are in this moment in time today, hence the story so far. So Terence Allen Crawford, born on the 28th of September 1987 in Omaha, Nebraska, makes him currently 30 years old, 31 in a couple of weeks' time after making of this video. He is a 3-weight world champion and nicknamed Bud. He's currently 33-0, so undefeated, 0 draws, 0 defeats, with 24 of those 33 victories by stoppage or knockout. He's an orthodox fighter. Now, at the age of only 7 years old, he first put on a pair of gloves and has been training and sparring and hitting mitts and pads and whatever else ever since. So for the last 23 years, he's been punching the crap out of things, right? Now, as an amateur, he has 70 official amateur bouts and only lost 12 of those, which was pretty damn good. And as an amateur, he defeated future world champions in Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia. But he has also lost to Danny Garcia in one of those 12. He won 3 major tournaments as well. 2 of those in 2006 with the National PAL Championships at £132 and the Blue and Gold National Championships also at £132. So he won the gold in both of those in 2006. In 2007, he won the US Pan American Games box offs as well, gold medalist at £132. He did try out for the 2008 American Olympic team, but fell short when he lost to future 154-pound WBO world champion Saddam Ali. So rather than carry on as an amateur, he decided to turn pro, and he signed up with a promotional company called Poor Boys Pro Boxing by Jim Smith, and he made his pro debut on the 14th of March 2008. By taking on 2-0, so a prospect in himself, in Brian Cummings, and this was in Denver, and he stopped Cummings in the first round, 26 seconds to be precise. Straight after then, he went after Filberto Nieto, who was 1 win and 4 defeats, and he made him quit after the first round, and this was in Glen Burnie at the Michael Apes Avenue as well. So first 2 wins, 2 stoppages. His next 2 fights after then, he went the distance over 4 rounds. One of them was against Damon Antoine, who was 8 wins, 25 defeats and 1 draw. This was at the Valencia Ballroom, York. And straight after then, he went to the Iowa City Johnson County Fairgrounds and took on a debutant, Aaron Anderson. Now, all this is at lightweight, of course. So first 4 fights, 2 stoppages and 2 points wins. So for his 5th one, he took on 5 wins and 6 defeat in Michael Williams. And again, this is back at the Valencia Ballroom in York, and he stopped him in 2 rounds. Then he went after Travis Hartman, who was currently 9, or then at the time, 9 wins, 10 defeats, 1 draw, also at the Valencia Ballroom in York, and went the distance with him. Now, from that moment on, up until his 20th fight, he's taken on this kind of level of opposition, all learning fights to help him in the future, of course. Some of them were pretty new into the game themselves, and a lot of them were journeymen. But he went to a huge step up in his 20th fight, and for top rank as well, against Bradis Prescott, and this happened on the 30th of March 2013. So he had 5 years of perfecting his craft, which ultimately has paid off, as you can see. If you look at his record now. So this was at the 140-pound limit, and he took on Bradis Prescott, who was 26 wins and 4 defeats, and this was at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, and he went the distance over 10 rounds with Bradis Prescott. As I said, this was on a top rank show as well. Then he went and fought for the WBO NABO lightweight title at 135 pounds against Alejandro Sanabria, who at the time was 34 wins with only 1 defeat and 1 draw. and Bo Crawford stopped him in 6 rounds. So straight after, he took on 16-0 Andrei Klimov, and he went the distance with him as well, and this happened over there in Orlando. Then he got his first world title shot. Now, of course, being part of Top Rank Barbaro, much like it is with the UK fighters here with Frank Warren, you will always get an opportunity at some point at the WBO world title, no matter what your weight class is, and no different here. Terence Crawford got his first world title opportunity on a matchroom boxing show in the Scottish Exhibition Centre in Glasgow, Scotland, against the WBO world lightweight champion Ricky Burns. And he went the distance with him, dominated him quite comfortably, and he beat Ricky Burns 16-12, 17-11 and 16-12. So very, very dominant victory, and he becomes a world champion, WBO world lightweight champion, after defeating Ricky Burns, and this was on the 1st of March in 2014. Then he defends his title against an undefeated 23-0, very, very tough guy in Yorkis Gamboa. And he stopped Gamboa in 9 rounds. And he knocked Gamboa down in the 5th, the 8th, and twice in round number 9, where the referee ultimately waved it off. So very, very successful first defense of his WBO world lightweight title. So then he defends it again against 29 wins, 6 defeats, and 1. Somewhat of a journeyman, I suppose you could say, but very, very tough, and a lot of you guys would have heard of him, Raimundo Beltran, and he went the distance with him, and that was over in Omaha as well. So from that moment, he then vacates his title and moves up to super lightweight, and for his debut at super lightweight, he takes on the number 1 contender for that title, Thomas Delorme. So this was for the vacant WBO World Super Lightweight Championship. And Terence Crawford knocked down Delorme 3 times in round 6, ultimately stopped him. So at this point, he becomes a 2-weight world champion. So then he defends his title against Thierry Jean, who was at the time 29 wins and 1 defeat. And this was also in Omaha, and he defeated him by stopping him in the 10th round. And he dropped Jean down in rounds number 1, 9 and ultimately number 10. So then he defends his WBO World Super Lightweight title against Henry Lundy, who was again almost a journeyman, borderline journeyman, in 26 wins, 5 defeats and 1 draw, and this was at the Madison Square Garden Theatre in New York, and he stopped him in 5 rounds of 12. So very, very successful as a 2-weight world champion. Then one hell of a step up. Some people say that even to today, arguably his toughest test against Victor Postal, who was 28-0, and this was for Terence Crawford's WBO World Super Lightweight title and Postal's WBC World Lightweight title. So unification fight, and he dropped Postal twice in round number 5, but he also got a point deducted as well in round number 11 for hitting behind the head. So either way, he defeats Victor Postal 118-107, 117-108 and 118-107. So unanimous decision victory over a very, very tough Victor Postal. Then he defends his WBC and WBO World Lightweight titles, or Super Lightweight titles, sorry, against John Molina Jr. 29 wins, 6 defeats, and this again was back at Omaha at the CenturyLink Center, and he stops Molina Jr. in 8 rounds as well. So then he takes on one Felix Diaz, so he defends both his titles again, WBC, WBO World Super Lightweight titles against Felix Diaz. Again, very, very good, fantastic fighter in himself. 19 wins with only 1 defeat. And again, this was back at Madison Square Garden in New York. And Felix Diaz quits after 10 rounds of a 12-round bout. So he retains his titles. Then he takes on unified world champion in himself, in Julius Indongo. So this will be for undisputed at super lightweight. So the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO World Super Lightweight titles. And Julius Indongo was 22-0 at the time himself. also with a victory over Ricky Burns as well. So 22-0, Julius Ndongo, and this was at the Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, and he stops Julius Ndongo in the third round. So he also knocks down Ndongo in round number 2, and then ultimately round number 3 with a vicious body shot. So he becomes not only a 2-weight world champion, but a undisputed 140-pound world champion. Now, he didn't defend any of these belts. In fact, he decided to vacate all of them and go straight into a world title fight at 147 pounds. So he third weight class, and takes on WBO world welterweight champion Jeff Horn, who was fresh off a victory over Manny Pacquiao and Gary Corcoran before then. And this was at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And this is for the WBO world welterweight championship. And Jeff Horn, 18 wins, 0 defeats with only 1 draw. Terence Crawford stops him in round number 9 in a very, very dominant performance. It really, really was. Excellent performance by Terence Crawford. A lot of people, including myself, were questioning, is 147 pound too far for him? And against Jeff Horn, who is stupidly tough, Terence Crawford dominated him. Easy work. So a 3-weight world champion in Terence Bo Crawford. Now, what does he do next? Well, there's a lot of rumours that he could in fact be taking on Jose Benavidez, and it's rumoured to be on the 13th of October, again in Omaha, Nebraska. And Jose Benavidez Jr. is in fact an undefeated fighter in himself, 27-0. Now, there's no official confirmation of this yet, but this looks like this could be the next big one for Terence Crawford. And should this fight happen and Bo Crawford beats Benavidez, one hell of a resume. As I said, a lot of people have Terence Crawford as their number 1 pound for pound. If you don't, most people will have him as number 2, at worst case scenario number 3. So he is a legitimate pound for pound fighter in the world's era of boxing today, as a 3-weight world champion, former undisputed champion at 140 pound, and current 147 pound WBO world welterweight champion. As I said, Jose Benavidez Jr. could be next. Ideally, people looking forward to him maybe unifying against maybe a Keith Thurman, or potentially Manny Pacquiao, who knows, or ultimately Errol Spence Jr. But for whatever reason, Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford don't really want to fight each other. They kind of say that they do, then they don't, then they want to make it bigger, and it's all one big cluster mess. But ultimately, right now, this is the story of Terence Crawford so far. Fantastic stuff. You drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.